Are we live? Because
Hello.
it just said
Yes.
I haven't got internet.
Oh, I think we're live. Let me check.
We live?
Hello,
The
hello.
confusing thing is our graphics say live, but actually it's a graphic. It's not real indication that we're actually live. I can see some eyes. There we go. Guys, you need to let us know if you can see and hear us okay. Let's just see. We've got no eyes on us yet. Just wait. I don't want to be turned into one of those TikTok memes where people take the mickey out of people that go live and are like,
Oh, someone said
oh,
hello. There we go. We're live. We're
hello.
live. We're live.
We're
It's working.
live. We're
Okay,
live. We're
confirm.
live. We're live. Yeah,
It's working.
it's just a little bit behind tonight. I didn't know if it was me or what. Right, so that's Ecom. It's Brianna. Hi, Jade, and Cindy, the crew, the lady crew. We're joined by lovely ladies, which men are welcome, of course, as well. Not just singling out the ladies. I'm just going to go into the link on here. I was literally. I was saying to Matt beforehand, I just signed up to the Wimbledon ticket ballot beforehand. So I was like monitoring that just to make sure, because I've never been successful at that one. Been successful for the Ryder Cup, a few other sporting events and things like that, but I've never been successful for the Wimbledon one. So I would love to be able to get
Quite
that. Who's the
early.
stranger? Who's the stranger? Someone said hi, stranger. Who's the stranger? Can't tell on the comments. Yeah, all the ladies what lunch. Absolutely. I completely agree. David's joined us. I've been AWOL for ages. Glad to be back. Who is it? I can't
Nice.
tell. I can't tell in the comments. Me, Emily.
Nice.
Hi, Emily. Oh, hi, Emily. Hope you're well. Right, yeah, good to have you back. Definitely. Right, let me expand into here because I think I've gone into the wrong one. Waffle. Are we here? There's the comments. Yes, Emily. Hello. Good. Glad to see you. Right, I've got everyone's details and names now. Debbie, hi. I know I've got to listen to your voice note as well, so I'll listen to that this afternoon. I think it's been crazy just with normally Mondays are the day where I sort of catch up on everything from the back of the week. But obviously, with Matt being off last week as well, I'm just really chasing my tail at the moment. So give me a couple of days. I would have caught my tail. I would have caught it by about Wednesday, I think. That's the time I'm estimating that I would have caught it by that point. So anyway, there's us waffling. Sorry, there's me waffling on. I don't think I
Yeah.
could. I could never accuse you of waffling on that. But here we are. This is the last. Never mind the buy box before Q4 officially kicks off. Before we start, so I thought it would be pertinent to go through. I thought it would be pertinent to go through some of the things that you may have not thought of or overlooked. So a bit of a Q4 checklist, a couple of other things I want to discuss, as well as just sort of catching up with everyone as well and just getting the feels, how everyone's feeling about Q4. Do we think it's going to be best Q4 ever? I think you guys know our thoughts by now. We're both very much in agreement. It's going to be a good one. So for lots of different reasons. It's going to be a different one that we've not really experienced over the last couple of years due to extenuating circumstances, Brexit, COVID, all these type of things. So this is going to be pretty much what Q4, subject to pandemics, leaving European unions, the country going bankrupt, and this is about
I
as
think
normal
I
a
think last year
Q4 as
people were
you
a lot
get.
more cautious, weren't they? The last Q4 because obviously all the energy prices, although they didn't actually go up that much at that point, they went up a lot this year. There was obviously so
Yeah.
much talk about it, negativity about prices and interest rates, and I think now it's happened. I think people are kind of thinking it wasn't that bad. So I think people are going to be much more liberal with the spending this year. Expect a kind of V-shaped Q4 where we're going to have a big spike at the start of October because of Prime Day and sort of early deals. It'll drop off end of October, sort of beginning of November, and then peak again, sort of the end of November into early December. So I think it's going to be very much a V-shaped Q4, this one.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the cost of living crisis for the moment, because I do think this is going to be moving forward, I think this is definitely going to have more of an impact than it has at any point in the year so far. And I think most people will get through Christmas, but then I think it is going to have the biggest impact on next year than we've experienced. But guys, if you're following us, if you're part of the hive, if you're doing everything you can to kind of break away from the norm, you're going to be all right moving forward anyway. So, you know, it's doing those extra little things. I'm absolutely confident this model, in the way that we're teaching it, through what Profit Sting will be moving forward, that will cover everyone for the next 3 years in terms of strategy, a blueprint to be able to expand, scale, grow this business moving forward. I'm confident in that respect. But I worry for the people that are not doing it, the people that are not going to take action and think it's going to be okay in everything that you've done so far, because it just simply won't. It's, you know, it's as simple as that. It won't. So, yeah, so from that point of view, I want to talk about that from my own experience a little bit at the moment, because I think coming into this year, we all thought that we were going to pay in huge amounts of electricity. But actually, with the stuff that the government did, it's only really been the last couple of months we've felt the pinch on it. So I'll just share with you, just over 2 services, our electricity now has gone up to like $4.50 a month, and that's even with some cash back coming off with utility warehouse. Actually, I think it's about 400 now. So even with that aspect, then Matt told me the other day, he said, oh, we need to have a look at Sky because, you know, it's gone up to 150 quid a month. And I'm like, so hang on a sec. So you're telling me just between 2 services, because I do stick my head in the sand a little bit when it comes to, I'm happy to pay, I'm happy spending the money, but you know, when it comes to you know, looking at the bills, and that's very much, you know, Matt's you know, responsibility domain in our marriage, you know, from that point of view. So I was a little bit shocked because I'm quite happy to admit I'm quite naive when it comes to those sort of things, because Matt's always handled it. So but when he said spread across 2 services, we're spending £600 a month, I was like, wow, really? You know, and that's only been that price for the last couple of months, because obviously you've got other, you know, circumstances and things like that. Now we're very fortunate in we have a you know, a low mortgage for the house that we live in, and you know, we fixed in at a very good time on our mortgage anyway as well, so we don't have to worry about that. I was one of those gloaty people that, you know, kind of our mortgage came up at the right time, essentially, and you know, and will see us through to paying it off but before we need to worry about it moving forward. So I don't have to worry about that in that respect. So that's going to be a you know, a big factor for people for mortgages moving forward. But one thing that's never going to change is the need for buying things. And having that extra in what we can do, and just looking at all the different things that we can do to manipulate the system in a good way, not in a dodgy way, to be able to future-proof our businesses. So, you know, that's what we're ultimately, that's everything that we do in the hive. And now, come on, I'm going to spend 10 minutes talking about the hive at the end of this as well, because something is changing in the hive over the next couple of weeks and in this group as well. But we'll update you on that. Nothing bad, nothing negative or anything like that.
No major changes.
With the times. Yeah, good changes. We're just moving with the times. That's all we're doing. But before we do, and let's move on, and you know, let's talk about some of the Q4 stuff, because I don't want to get to 2 o'clock and be like we didn't discuss anything that we said we were going to talk. But before we do that, let's all hail Cindy the Canva Queen. I am definitely happy with you know, anointing Cindy with that title. So thank you very much for helping that out. You know, for helping out Debbie with that. I really, really appreciate it. And just say hello to a few people. Chris has joined us, Claire, Debbie as well. And yeah, like I said, this is real girl power today, guys.
Isn't it just?
I know. We're very
any guys on today?
Just the girls. But isn't that what life should be, Matt? You know, just men surrounded by a gaggle of beautiful women, obviously. Isn't that the dream in
That
life?
is the dream. That is the dream. Yeah.
Of course,
Funny,
of course.
my
Oh, there we go.
workforce is my workforce is 50/50. It's pretty much even split.
Oh, is it?
Mm.
I think
Literally,
we
it's
definitely have more
literally
females.
50/50.
Yeah, I think we definitely have more females, I would say.
Maybe we've
Brian's
got
there. There we
more
go.
female.
Brian's bringing the
Brian,
percentage
come
up.
on, Brian, bring up
Bringing
the
the
blokes.
Yeah, bringing the testosterone up a bit, notching it up. There we go. Good to have you here, Brian. Right, so let's talk about Q4. Who's excited? Who's not? Any questions? Any worries? Anything been playing on your mind? Let us know, guys. Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're gonna make
Two
sure you
people
don't
are here
get
for me.
bullied.
That's all right then. Not
Yeah.
my own.
Make sure you don't get bullied by all the girls for sure. Uh, good to know. So, let us know your thoughts on that. I think, like I said, we all know that we hope it's going to be a good Q4 this year. Some of the things I wanted to cover and talk about is inventory, prep.
Mhm.
Also wanted to talk about pricing, advertising as well, which obviously is something that can work out, very well during Q4 as well. But I also, not everything's also positive. I also want to talk about, the impact of selling over Q4 and what to expect in terms of returns in January, how to
Yes.
anticipate that, what to expect,
Returnuary
because
as it's dubbed.
Returnuary, absolutely. Because I do think this year will be one of the biggest that we've seen in terms of returns. So how we can plan for that and how we can adapt to that, definitely. See my unicorn in the background there that I still need to sell that I haven't got around to doing yet. But just most importantly, it's about one of the biggest things I think you should always have on your checklist and things that you should always do is stay informed during Q4.
Mhm.
So never mind the buy box. We're going to be really focused on Q4 this year. So even if you're not part of our paid group, the Hive, please always make sure that you either try and catch us on the live, 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, or you're watching the replay every week during Q4. We've already seen a big jump in numbers on the content that we produce. People now are kind of flocking back after the summer and, ready to take Q4 on. And I think it's really important to make sure that you stay in the know, stay informed, stay in the groups that deliver consistent and constructive information, good quality information, because there always seems to be a new guru popping up. And yeah, we are gurus, guys. We sell information, we do, but hopefully you'll
Guru's not
agree with
guru.
yeah, we're the like if guru-ness was like the Wizard of Oz, we're the Glindas of
Yeah. Yeah, this is just a green screen, I promise. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I have got a unicorn in the background, so there we go. What more can you want? I can take you up the warehouse, and you've seen me up there, but it is like Matt's. Your background's way nicer than mine. Mine's like almost like death by prep, in ours for sure. So stay informed, stay in the groups, network, talk to other sellers, because there are things that everything's so much more heightened during Q4. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is if something goes wrong that you weren't expecting, it's good to have people around you with experience and with composure as well that can help kind of keep you grounded in terms of if something goes wrong or whatever, of knowing that the sky is not going to fall in and it's part of the process, and just that reassurance. So that's my first tip. When it comes to Q4, stay informed, try and attend the lives when you can. If not, watch the replay. But definitely, I don't know if there's something you can do in Facebook where you can, ensure that you're getting the feeds or following the group or something
Podcast
like
is a good
that.
place.
Pardon?
Watch our podcast is a great start, while you're prepping and stuff. If you've missed any of the never mind the buy
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you can't stomach our faces, then put us on in the car radio on the
The
walk to
audio, yeah.
school. Yeah, also listen to the audio. Actually, I don't know what's worse, face or the voice. It depends which way you look at it. But yes, stay informed. Chris said, I'm so excited about Q4 as one that can be at the crack of dawn. Well, as excited as one can be. The crack of dawn. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Sorry, I was like, crack of dawn? Yeah, early part of it. I get what you're saying, Chris. Yeah, I'm really excited. First
Yeah.
time in a few years. I mean, we always end up doing really well in Q4, but sometimes it can be a bit of squeaky bum time. You know, when you've invested every penny. I was talking. Mark Penn did a post the other day. Was talking about like paying off your mortgage, which was a really
Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
thread
yeah.
to read. So if you haven't done it already, and I always say to people, around now is the poorest you should ever feel. Between now and November, you should not have any money left in your bank account. You know, yes, you should have your rainy day fund. I would just want to make that absolutely clear. But like I said, you know, if anyone, this should be the time when you should be considering what you're doing because you shouldn't have any money left. You know, this is the time you should be investing in stock within reason, of course. Just want to make that
Yeah.
absolutely clear. But yeah,
Yeah,
I've
be very careful buying. I mean, now's still a good time, but I think people get a bit carried away. A lot of the problems, you know, people we speak to who are in problems, it's because they got a bit too carried away at the end of Q4.
yeah.
And you know, they overpaid on stuff because the prices are going to creep up. I'm already seeing massive price increases on August on a lot of products. You know, sort of
Mm.
some have gone up 50%. In since August, partly driven by inflation, partly driven by people sold out of stock and things. So two things here: don't drop your prices too low too soon, and also don't buy too late because you'll be overbuying, and that can cause you a lot of difficulty going into 2024 if you've got too much stock you pay too much money for.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about those financials because that kind of leads us on next. We're in
Mm,
a slightly different position at the start of this Q4. Matt, you're our kind of finance guru in terms of leverage, borrowing, that type of thing.
yeah,
How do you think this is going to impact with the interest rate increases? Obviously, we had a little bit of respite this month. They're not going to be going up this month, but it doesn't mean they're not going to be going up next month. How do
yeah.
you think what are things people need to be preparing for their Q4 checklist when it comes to consideration if they're going to take out borrowing to help fund Q4 or whatever?
Yeah.
Because it's a stark contrast between where we were this time going into Q4 last year than it is this year, right? And I don't know if
Yeah,
I've not heard a
absolutely.
lot of people talking about it.
No, that's the thing is it's the cost of the borrowing's gone up massively. So, you know, whereas last year Amazon's probably lending money out 8, 9%, they're now lending it out 13 to 15%. So that doesn't I've not seen any slowdown in the amount of lenders or the amount being lent. Doesn't seem to have been affected particularly. Maybe a little bit.
I
The only
have a bit.
a bit. I was gonna say the credit cards seem to have slowed down a lot. I know credit cards are not increasing limits, cutting limits particularly, but the bigger lenders don't seem to be slowing down too much, from what I've seen. But you said that some people have had limits cut and things, and some of the borrowings have
Or
gone
not
down,
refinanced.
not
I've seen a lot
refinanced.
of people that have not had their normally you would get 3 months into an Amazon loan, you could expect a refinance offer and things like that. They seem to be further drawn out now, the refinance
Yeah,
offers, or if not coming at all, which I think is going to put you know, a lot of people in quite a bad situation. And what I will say at the moment, something I just want to make people aware about is price tanking at the moment is going to be bad, guys, you know,
yeah,
because I'm seeing a lot of people that are not being reoffered their finance. So what's happening is they think that they're selling through their stock like crazy to be able to reoffer their finance to be able to get more. But what they don't realize is obviously it's based on the amount of stock value that's in their business. So I'm seeing so many people that are not being refinanced at the moment and are not going to get refinanced, but they think if they're burning through their stock and they're selling their stock, they're going to get refinanced, but it catches up with you in the end, unfortunately. if that's the case. If you are in that position at the moment, no judgment, like I said, I don't think people anticipated the impact of the cost of borrowing and what it was going to have on people's
Yeah.
businesses. My best advice for you now is do not sell through the stock. If you
No.
can, try and hold it. Try and get as much money for it whereas before, when you got into a bit of a cash flow issue a year ago to 9 months ago, sell off your stock, you can get refinance, you can do this. Well, there's no guarantee that the refinance offer is going to come now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and also if it does come, it's going to cost you more money, so you've got to factor that in.
Absolutely.
So margins, I'm gonna say this is the main thing to focus on this Q4 is margins. Volume, don't worry about the volumes. Put through good volumes, of course, but the margin's the most important thing here because everything costs more. Everybody's business expenses have gone up in every area. Energy's gone up. Costs of packaging's gone up. Amazon fees are going up. Referral fees are going up. Amazon FBA fees have had a real stark increase recently, and shipping costs compared to where they were a few months, even a few months ago. So this Q4 should be a margin maker for you, and you should be aiming to make as much margin as possible. And I think the worst thing people can do at this very point is to lower their prices too much just to get sales in, because you'll sell out of stock. You won't be able to replenish. And if you do, you can replenish
And
it,
you're
be
out.
more expensive, or you're out completely. And then you've wasted it. And you'll be sat there looking at all these other sellers. You sold yours at 10 quid, they're getting 20, £25, and you're thinking, why on earth did I liquidate that stock? What have I
Yeah.
done that for? And
I
to be honest, from a restock point of view, even from an OARA point of view, now we're getting into October, I think you're going to really struggle to actually get that stock in live and sold before Q4. Now is the prime time. So if you're not getting stuff in now, yes, of course you can still send it in October, but you're probably certainly going to miss the first Prime Day, and you're probably going to be struggling to get it in live and available for sale before the peak of Q4. To be honest, at the moment, from the delays I've seen, so that's something to consider, along with the cash flow element of that there's a long time of product coming into Amazon. We're seeing sort of 2 weeks for shipments to be received, so that can have a big impact on your cash flow. People can't get the stock in, recycle it, and pay off the credit card bills in time, which is again causing further price tanking.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is, this is the first year I really do see people getting wiped out
Yeah,
in terms of, and it's not going to be the price tanking that's going to wipe people out. And what I mean by that is to say, what on earth are you talking about? Of course, it's going to be the price tanking, but it's not going to be the price tanking that's wiping people out because they're price tanking because they don't know how to operate in this business. And this is why price tanking is such a misunderstood thing. The majority of price tanking that is taking place now is for necessity. It's not because people don't know how to run a business. It's not because of this. It's not the newbies that obviously, always get blamed. I mean, yes, there's lots of gurus and still the same amount of people that are coming into the business and that. But you've actually got to remember with the newbies, I think they get a bit of a fun, fair rap at the end of the day. They don't want to come in and start, price tanking straight away. If anything, the newbies are more than likely to hold their prices because
yeah,
they're so known and they're not used to it. So, from what Andy said, I'm having to lower prices as a big tax bill coming in, and Amazon loan, they need the payments, and it's only coming from sales. So what I see in this situation is I'm very fortunate that I do know a lot of people in this business, and I do talk to a lot of people, and it's a bit like a sampling of information when you hear from people. It's a bit like the reason why people do market research with test audiences and that. It's a sampling of a wider audience. And what tends to happen is what happens comes out of talking to that sample audience is generally what the majority is happening with them or happening with Phil. And over the years of this is why I talk to so many people in this business and stay informed. Part of what I'm talking about in this Q4 checklist is because what sellers like Andy are experiencing now is what the majority of sellers that have been selling probably for more than 18 months to 2 years are experiencing. So you're not on your own, Andy. This is more the norm at the moment of what people are experiencing. So I understand that bills are they need to be paid, and they need to be,
Yeah.
facilitated, but apply some sort of strategy. You can still apply a strategy to it. It just means that you need to be more in your business now than you've ever been. We always talk about work on your business and not in your business, but I actually think if you're in that position now, you need to get back in your business and you need to start working in your business, purely because you need to know where you should be selling, where you should be holding, where you should be retaining, where you should be replenishing, where you should be going for extra margin, where you should be selling off to get cost back, what percentage you should be holding to get profit. If you cannot do that at the moment in your business, then it's with what's happened over the last 12 months and the way that the business model was operating, and if you haven't evolved over the last 12 months, then it's going to see people in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that
Just
make
go through.
sense?
Yeah, totally. A few of these comments. I know Chris has said, I've seen new Amazon loan offers after 1 month, but the interest is so high that lines of credit elsewhere make sense. Yeah, and one of the things that I really advise people to do that I think a lot of people don't do is they don't factor the finance cost into the cost of the purchase. So if you're borrowing money at say 12%, let's say 1% per month, you should be adding 1% of the item cost into every single item as part of your cost of goods, because that is your real cost. Because you have to borrow this money, you have to pay interest on this money to buy this stock. It should form part of your cost of goods, and it won't form part of your cost of goods from an accountancy point of view, but from a purchase decision point of view, and especially when these rates are going up sort of even higher than that, you need to make sure that you're actually making a real profit. A lot of people, they're making what they think is a profit because they've got, say, 5% markup, but by the time they take off the interest and other operational costs on their own time, they're not making any money at all. So this is why I think that the margins is so important, making sure that you are holding your margin. But it is difficult, like you said, and I know someone else has said here, I spent 60k on stock last November, which was too late with raw mail delays. Stock arriving after Christmas, repaid it all 9 days later, and Amex cut the limit down from 80k down to 8k, which had a huge cash flow impact. Yeah. So again, back to what I was saying earlier, be extremely careful buying both stock and borrowing money at the end of Q4. I'm not saying don't do it, just be very careful, because people get really into the highs of Q4. Prices are through the roof. They're making profit, making money hand over fist. They get a bit carried away. They buy too much stock. They can't turn it around in time, because remember, when you get to the 20th of December, them sales go through the floor. They literally just go through the floor until sort of after Christmas, maybe 27th, 28th, you'll probably see a pickup. But there's also a lack of working days. So, it's harder for Amazon to ship the stock, which means it takes longer for you to get paid as well. So there's a lot of things that can have a really big impact on your cash flow. And if you're not careful, stock gets in too late, or there's a delay because, like you say, raw mail can't deliver it or whatever. And that can have a real big impact, on your cash flow. So just be super careful if you are buying stock at the end of Q4.
I'm going to make a bit of a prediction with our, once it comes into the public domain, Bestocked, our inventory management software that we're building at the moment. I believe our inventory management software is going to be one of the most unpopular, unsexy softwares for people, because it's not going to be pretty in some of the things that it's going to highlight in your business. And we're so used to software that kind of fluffs things up for us and make things look pretty and that type of thing. And by the way, that's not me talking negatively about any types of software. They all serve their purpose, absolutely. But we were having a conversation with some software developers a few weeks ago, and we were talking about a specific way that we're going to implement, or we're implementing something into Bstock. And the reason why we're doing it is not how everyone else does it, because there's a difference between the way certain software show things and the way that Bstock's going to show things, which, by the way, I just want to make it absolutely clear, Bstock is not profit software in any way, shape or form. It's inventory management software. It's completely different. And it's going to look different. Well, it looks quite similar to other softwares, but we just can't help it. There's only so many ways you can display data. I just want to put that out there. There's only so many ways that you can do it. it's going to be very different, and it's going to be a shock for some people. On There are easy ways to do things, i.e. the way that you structure certain things in your business, Matt, and there are ways that they're going to be done in be stocked that are not the easy way,
No.
and they're not the way that people have been doing it, but it's going to rock the place a little bit, to be honest. And I think it's going to be a big reality check for some people.
Yeah, I think there's a few. Yeah, the software is going to be set up very much from a not a big business point of view, but from a way that big sellers run their businesses, and implementing these kind of processes as part of B Stocked will help your business grow. Because a lot of the other softwares, like the cost of goods, you just kind of import them through Excel, but there's no kind of audit trail. There's no purpose to that. There's no averages in that. You just kind of override an Excel sheet. Whereas we're going to be using purchase orders, which means that, you've got a proper process for creating a purchase order. You've got audit trails. You're thinking like a big business, and putting that in early makes it so much easier to grow. Trust me, take it from experience. I've had so much issue with inventory management in my business from day one, because we always had a system that worked at the time and never thought ahead. So we were always playing catch up, and it's always problems. And it got to the point where you have to stop the business to get everything right and restart it. Whereas we want everyone to be right from the beginning, so that their business can just grow seamlessly without having to sort of take these big stops and go back down and then go to grow again, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting, the market leaders in, what could be considered, I suppose, slightly similar software, which there isn't anyone in the UK, by the way. I would say that the only real, similar softwares, but even still more focused on the profit side of things, are based in the US. They're not UK softwares. This is why, when people are saying to us, well, will I be able to use it to replace this or replace that? What we've created doesn't exist. So unfortunately, no, you'll need it in addition to, which I think will be quite good news for other software providers anyway as well. We're not saying no, you don't need this or you don't need that, because nobody really has built a decent inventory management system for Amazon. So the reason why it's going to be something that's going to be needed additionally is because it doesn't already exist. And it's taken us longer, by our own admission, than we anticipated to even get it to the first stage of testing, because we've done things and built things in a way that have been far more complex than what already exists in a system. But we've already done it. We've already done it. So, we made that choice, and we did have to make a big choice a couple of weeks ago, whether we do it the easy way and we do it the way that everyone else is doing it, or we stick to our guns. And I'm quite happy to say we stuck to our guns. And it was Matt, it was you that forced us to do it a little bit, because we were conscious of timelines and things like that. But the reason we built this software is because nothing out there exists for it. And you were like, you put your foot down and said, no, I want us to continue this on, otherwise there's no growth for future for people. So yeah, that's what it is.
That was one of the main things for me, was because I've got experience. I've used like 10 different image systems over the years, and they've either been too big, as in they're too expensive, too much to implement, or they've just not been good enough. They do what you want from a very basic point of view, but your business cannot grow with them. And everybody knows how disruptive changing systems, especially if you've got 10 staff, you're doing hundreds of thousands of pounds a year, maybe even millions of pounds a year, and you have to go, right, we're going to stop the business for 2 weeks while we put a new system in. Well, you may as well add, 50K onto your cost, because you've lost 50K's worth of sales. So, looking at that perspective, doing things right from the off was sort of a non-negotiable for me, for making this software for businesses who really want to grow.
Thank you for being such a hard taskmaster, Matt. We appreciate it, and it will do us well in the long run. Whoever said this, VAT sellers, Simon, they're absolutely right. They need a cash flow. They need quicker cash flow turnaround. But again, I don't want to feel like I'm constantly carrot dangling, but it's so true. I almost want to get him a time machine and fast forward a year and knowing what we're delivering in the hive, what's being delivered at the moment, what's been delivered in the past, what's going to be delivered, plus with a combination of bee stocks and everything else that we do as well, and working with other people in the industry. We're not just saying we're the be all and the end all. Another big decision we chose a couple of weeks ago is we're going to scrap some of the ideas that we had for bee stock, because we're going to opt for collaboration and integration with other softwares, as opposed to trying to be everything to all people. We would, because it's the reason we called the hive is that hive mindset, working with other people. If you're working with other good people in the industry that you rate, and you're only going to make it better for everybody. So from that point of view, that's why we're going to choose collaboration. Everyone might not want to collaborate with us obviously moving forward, but that's why we're going to choose collaboration with software and integration, as opposed to trying to build everything from one person's point of view. I just don't think it's a healthy way to grow, essentially, not only for us as a business, but also our users as well. So I'm all about collaboration and partnerships and, that type of thing. I think it's really healthy. Just Claire saying, also newbies told repeatedly not to price tank if they're in a Discord leader group. Price tanking seems to be bigger sellers on the listings I'm on. Absolutely. Completely agree. I do think new sellers just get a little bit of a tough rap, and have been doing so for the last years. We're not in COVID at the moment. Andre saying, we did last year. We were still sending stock on the 15th of December. Not the smartest decision we've ever made. Probably not if it was like seasonal based, definitely. But again, like I said, in my time machine, 9 months, a year in the future from now, when B stock's fully working, when you've got the inventory management side of things, I genuinely believe, and I believe it with my whole being, is that it's going to fix so many things. It's not a magic bullet. Of course it's not.
No.
It's not going to fix all your problems, unfortunately, but it will have that level of impact that I'm hoping will get some of the sellers that are maybe in a little bit of a hole at the moment over, out of it. And for those that want to build on what they've already built, scale on what they've already built moving forward, it will be able to facilitate that for them moving forward. But yeah, it's not going to do everything, of course not. But I wouldn't want something that would do everything. You need to still have that manual input in your business. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, of course.
That is very true, Andre. The only thing that is going to fix all of our problems is a big pot of cash. Absolutely. I say this to Matt on a weekly basis. I said, right, how much money do you need to solve your problems this week? So it's a little joke that we always have. And some weeks it's a small amount, some weeks it's a big amount. It's as simple as that. Money talks. There's no doubt about it. Cash is king. I don't offer one-to-one mentoring at the moment. I only work with a very small amount of people. Occasionally I do get sort of positions. Sorry, I'm not employing anyone. I do get slots that come up, but it's not a main area of focus for me, unfortunately, Leon. But other members of the Hive do so. It's always worth reaching out to Hive founders and things like. I'm hoping at some point we're going to have some sort of coaching program in the future as well, where people because there is, unfortunately, there's only so much time in the day, and I think one of the things for us is we'd love to be because coaching really does make it one-to-one mentoring does make a really big difference for a lot of people in the business. But obviously there's only one of me, there's only one of Matt, there's only one of Johnny. So to be able to have some sort of coaching program moving forward, I would love to be able to develop something like that. But then I need another me to be able to do it, another Matt to be able to do it. So something that's planned for the future, definitely. But at the moment, unfortunately not.
Yeah, far too busy.
So yeah, I mean it's one of those things. It's almost like you've got to work towards the greater good. And at the moment in time, our efforts need to be focused on B stocks in particular, because obviously we know what a big, big area of change that's going to bring for so many sellers, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Claire says, being so early on the Amazon journey this time around, I think B stock is going to be very interesting and useful, how it's going to help with building the business. Yeah, early on in business, I don't know, it might not have much of an impact, but it's something that is going to be designed to be able to grow with your business as well. Because it is not, like I said, there's nothing worse than if you say, for instance, you go on a repricer and then you have to change to another repricer because it doesn't do something that your business now requires.
Yeah.
We're trying to build it so it facilitates growth and can kind of handhold you with the business. But even then, there will still be a moment in time. We've already discussed this. This is why we're talking about integration. I think how we've planned it is B stocked will probably facilitate up to about 4 to 5 million a year in growth, something like that. Maybe a bit more. I don't know. 3 to 5 million, and then at some point you might need another system that can work alongside B stock. So I don't want to try and portray it as it's going to solve all of your problems forever and ever and ever and ever, because I don't think that's just unrealistic.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But hopefully we're going to get to integrate with these larger softwares as well. So that's the idea there. Hopefully we can integrate, and therefore, it will be much longer lasting.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy says, knowing your numbers and managing your stock is so vital for every day, for every seller, especially new sellers. When you're scaling, any issues hiding are amplified and any profits optimized or amplified. For sure. There is no doubt about it. There are times when I see people on their 0 to 100K kind of journey, and I think, enjoy it, guys. Enjoy. It's like without being disrespectful, it's like being at primary school. When you look back at that time, you think, damn, I wish I enjoyed it more in that time, because that's the time when, by the way, I'm not saying it's easy. It's not, it's absolutely not, but you're less likely to experience, what somebody is doing, at a bigger turnover at that, the problems. It's like when you raise children, when they're little, you worry about them in their cot and things like that, whereas when they get to 5, you worry about them getting bullied at school, or when they get to 10, you worry about something else. It's just different problems, different, whole bunch of new different problems at any point in your business. That's what I'm saying, essentially. So from that point of view, from the financials, really do think about it, guys, and definitely taking that into account, have a think about what you're going to do with your finances over this period of time. If you are going to leverage, think about what the best option for leverage is. Do you have that? I was talking to a seller this morning about different leverage options within their business, and if you are fortunate to have a few, work out which one is going to be the best one for you, because some that might look the best on the surface are not the best, and this is where having a bit of
and the cheapest isn't always the best either. Just because it's the lowest, people go, oh, I'll take this money because it's the lowest cost, but it's got very tight repayment terms, for example, i.e. it only lasts for 30 days. That puts a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on you as a business owner, especially in the world of Amazon, because you must remember, Amazon controls your business, not you. You don't control your business. Amazon can put your inventory into, intentionally or not, into, defective, and you have to fight to get it sorted and all this kind of stuff. So, just choose the best option, which doesn't necessarily mean it's the cheapest.
Yeah, absolutely. Nor says, looking forward to B stocks, as are we as well. We're looking forward to it as well. Ahmed's joined us. Ahmed, I've been tied up all morning. I do apologize. I will listen to your voice note when I get a chance, but I am seeing a little bit of a smiley face. So I'm hoping somebody has led you to what I think the issue was. Without going into too much detail, that it wasn't as serious as maybe you thought it was. I don't know. I'll talk to you after this anyway as well, because we've seen what I think has happened a couple of times to other people, and it just so happened it was on the morning, well, like the busiest morning of my life. Yes, there we go. Phew. Okay, we thought it was. So I think Ahmed. Yeah, we saw it happen. It happened to Luke Dugan as well, so we went through it with him. So
Can we elaborate on that? I think it's a very useful piece of information.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
well, I think it'd be really, just in case anybody hasn't picked up on this. So I don't know why, I don't know how, but occasionally people are having their buyer account suspended. The problem is most people only have one login for Seller Central, which is usually the same email as your buyer account. Now, the problem with that, which I think Ahmed's experienced, is when your buyer account gets suspended, because it's on the same email, your seller account gets suspended as well. But not suspended in terms of you're not selling, suspended you can't log into it because your buyer account's gone. So what we've advised people to do is set up another email that is secondary access to your Amazon account, and therefore you can always use that as a backup to get into your Amazon account. It's also good security as well. If you ever get hacked as well, you've got another way back into your Amazon account, not just from this buyer account suspension, which I think is generally rare, although I've seen quite a few people, unfortunately, but I think overall it's rare. But make sure you've got another email login into your seller account so you can get into your seller account if anything were to happen to it, even if it's just a hack, which could happen to anyone at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. We again comes back to that first tip I said, your Q4 checklist, stay informed. Unfortunately, I feel really bad for Ahmed this morning because I knew as soon as I saw his post, I had the busiest morning of my life. As soon as I saw his post, I said, have you got account health assurance? And I was pretty sure that he did, but no one replied. So always reply, Ahmed. No one replied because I knew for a fact he couldn't have been suspended. And then I said, send me some screenshots, and I could have, sort of like within 5 minutes told you that it was your buyer account and not. It's just I had like a massively busy morning, so I was on calls with people, so and I have to go on do not disturb, so I didn't do it. So guys, please stay informed. Always be in the know that you can contact a genuine person, won't mind a PM. Have you seen this before? Have a look at this screenshot, do this, do that, to be able to do it. I'm just unfortunately, I'm sorry that I wasn't around this morning to be able to keep Ahmed's blood pressure low, which I'm sure experienced about 4 cardiac arrests this morning based on that. So, and what's even worse is where it's the buyer account is blocked. It looks like with a suspended seller account, you can always log into your system.
And it will say suspended in big red bar.
Yeah, exactly. You can never not log into your system. So if that happens to you, and Amazon are assholes, for want of a better word, because they do not amend their wording on their email for a deactivation. But what is a top tip here, guys, is there's 2 different wordings here to recognize when it comes to buyer and seller account. When it comes to a buying account, they will use the word suspended. When it comes to a seller account, they will use the word deactivated. That is the big difference between the two. And it's the word deactivated that should send you into cardiac arrest, not suspended. So, that's the one. Please, 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 but stay in the know. Work within, the people that do have a little bit of experience and know what they're talking about a little bit. So, just stay in contact and hassle us as well. Tag us, do whatever you need to do. The thought of someone just panicking and, being in a position where they didn't know what to do or whatever, because sometimes you can also make things a little bit worse as well by knee-jerk reactions. So always step 1, don't panic. Step 2, ask in groups, ask for advice, don't take any action. You never have not enough amount of time to be able to ask for advice. That's what I
Yeah.
always say. If Amazon do give you a time limit on something, it's generally 72 hours plus. So you always get enough time to ask advice before you take action. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
Oh,
often
yeah.
the thing is taking that extra hour or 2 to get the advice can actually get it resolved far quicker. You know, if you don't know
Yeah.
what you're doing, you don't know what the problem is, you just sort of, batting in the wind, sending random emails off of what you think the problem is, you're not getting it resolved. Whereas you can post in the groups, people in this example have actually been through this, can offer genuine advice. Boom, Ahmed's got it sorted a lot quicker than maybe he would otherwise if he was trying to fight it on his own.
Yeah, I mean, it's the panic, like I said. I understand
Yeah.
it. I've been to, and it's why as well. I don't know if anyone remembers. I'm gonna make a video about it. I don't know if I'm making it this week or next week in my content calendar. I'm making a big video about my suspension that we experienced whenever I can't even remember because I don't even know. I wasn't that bothered by
About
it. And I know that
May or June time, was it?
was it?
Feel like the
Yeah, but
start of summer, yeah. I feel like it was then.
you guys remember, and it wasn't a front. Do you remember how kind of chilled I was about it? Because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's one of those things that I knew that it would get resolved. I didn't know how long it was going to take to get resolved. And obviously, as every day goes on, you do get a bit more panicky, of course, but there's not a lot you can do in those scenarios. And what Matt said 10 minutes ago is so true. I don't control those type of scenarios. Amazon does. So what's the point of getting, stressed out about it if
yeah,
I can't have the impact of what I would do outside of those circumstances? It's more important to remain calm, don't panic, don't take any action that might cause further issue, because sometimes what happened, someone might send in the wrong type of invoice and then all of a sudden that puts them back, that type of thing. There is, it's a classic example of keep calm and carry on. If anything like that ever experiences is that. And Cindy's right, it shouldn't scare you to the point of where you're so scared, because if you're doing things by the book and everything's okay and you're in the right networks and I don't mean like from a clicky point of view, but if you hopefully are listening to the right people and you know that you can ask trusted advice, then you'll always be okay. That's what I'm trying to say. It might not be on the timelines you want it to work on, but relentlessness is something that is required, and resilience is required to be an Amazon seller. And for want of a better word, and this isn't directed at anyone in particular, you should always be in a position that if your business stops trading for X amount of time, that you should always have either the funds to cover it for X amount of time, or the ability to be able to have another market or something else
mm,
running or something like that
yeah,
to be able to cover it. The reason why I wasn't bothered when the US got suspended is because we've got other areas of the business that are working for us in terms of producing income, which can obviously fill gaps and pay Amex bills and things like that. And Ahmed, that wasn't at you, by the way. I wasn't that was generalistic advice. It's why diversification
very
into
important.
different marketplaces is so important. Having a backup for eBay like Matt does, selling in different marketplaces like we do, selling bundles like we do, having a 7-figure Shopify site as Johnny does. We don't tell you this to make money. It's about protection more than anything else. I spoke to a seller this morning who is selling in the US that is maybe going to stop selling in the UK. I'm like, don't stop selling in the UK, because if something goes pop in the US, then you can still trade. You're still
Yeah,
doing money, you're
yeah.
still earning money. It's like the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, I think there's 2 schools of thought here. Either you should have a minimum of 30 days worth of full expenditure in cash in a reserve account. If you for example, if you only sell on Amazon in the UK and, you should have 30 days worth of money as a minimum in cash in a separate account that you can use. No, that's not to pay credit card bills and buy stock with, that's just as a reserve fund. or you need to ensure you've got streams of income which will be able to provide for your bills. Now, I'm not saying, you need to be able to continue to buy stock at the same level you're buying now, but, you need to pay your rent, your staff, whatever bills you've got. So that other stream of income should at least cover the minimum. So if, my business costs about 40,000 a month to operate, that's not to buy stock, that's just to operate. So my eBay needs to make a minimum of £40,000. So in the worst case, well, the money's still coming in from that platform, and we've got other platforms, but that one platform is enough to
Keep the
cover
lights on.
to keep the lights on. Because if you have a suspension now and it lasts for 2 weeks, how many people genuinely could financially support themselves or their business if you got no money for the next 2 weeks from Amazon? But ask yourself that question. If you're going, yeah, that's me, you need to look at doing something now. You need to either have a month's worth of cash in the bank that you can use to cover that as an emergency fund as a minimum. Some people say 3 months. I think that's a little bit excessive, but certainly a month's worth of cash, and or another side income that is enough to cover your bills for the 30 days if you were to, to just have that platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that it's going to be the crux of the video that I'm going to make. Is going to go into that in a bit more detail. So watch out for that one when it comes. It's speaking from experience. It's speaking from and the reason why I was so calm the last time, it was because the time before that, like Matt and like everyone else, we've all been through a time where we have had those 4 cardiac arrests
Yeah, yeah.
in the space of 10 minutes. And we've learned from it. That's the most important thing. By the way, if I got suspended and the US was my only income stream, and yes, I would have been down A&E first thing. It's as simple as that. But the reason why I was able to stay as calm as I was and look at it more as annoying than it was
Yes.
anything else.
It
That's what it
becomes
is. It becomes more annoying
yes,
to
rather
deal
than
with.
being catastrophic, it becomes a pain. That's the
Yeah, it was
difference.
a pain in the bum.
And also,
Yeah,
you've
that's
got to
it. It was
value
a pain in the bum, not a
pain
pain
in the
in the
bum.
heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And having these things in place will help you sleep better, help you plan better, help you manage your business better, because you've not got that sole dependence on this one external platform that you've got no control over.
Mhm.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is caution as well. And like I will say, this is why do you know what? I actually think that's the biggest tip of today. Stay in the know, attend the lives. If you're part of the hive, be part of that. Because actually this scenario in particular was talked about quite extensively in the hive. We talked about it on here. It was posted about in the hive. Luke posted about it in his group as well. So, this scenario in particular, it's one of those things, stay in the know. Now, you can't be expected to remember every little detail of every little thing that happens at every single time across all of the different groups and do this and do that. But this is why I always say, make sure the ones that, if we annoy you, there's not much I can do about that, obviously, but always put yourself in a position where that within certain updates that you're going to be getting you're going to be getting good advice, or you can ask questions, you can do this, or you can do that. So yeah, it's stay in the know, guys, honestly, because like I said, this is something, the reason why it's come up. So I'm so relieved for you, Ahmed, though. So I'm glad that trip to A&E wasn't needed. After all, good job you're on your big health your health drive at the moment as well. So hopefully the ticker was running a little bit a little bit better at the time that they get in. But all's well that ends well. That's the most important thing for sure. Yeah, bow to the Amazon God. You do. I'm
Yeah,
afraid you need to get out there
you
and
do.
start dancing towards, worshiping the Amazon gods, praying to them, offering sacrifices. It is what it is. If you want to sell on that platform, yeah, Amazon, Jeff is God. It's as simple as that. And we are nothing but mere mortals when it comes to, selling on the Amazon platform, for
Yeah.
sure. So get your finances right. So tips so far: stay in the know, get your finances, Inventory. This is going to be a biggie as well. So we've already talked about that. Andre was talking about it. Strategically plan when your inventory is going to go in. Stay replenished on your good sellers before you're even looking for news. Yes, Q4 is the quarter where seasonality can bring good growth to your business. There's no doubt about it. But don't forget about your bread and butter.
Yeah.
Don't sacrifice good replens to get your head turned by chocolate advent calendars or something like that. I would never sacrifice being able to buy and replenish good replens over a seasonal item. It's as simple as that, because those chocolate advent calendars are not going to keep you warm in March.
Yeah. Also, one other thing to I know we hype Q4 up a lot, and that's the right thing to do. There's lots of profit to be made, but don't feel completely deflated if you don't have a great Q4. There is 12 months in the year, and Q4 only is 3 months of
It's a
that period.
bonus.
There's 4 quarters in a year. So please don't feel that, like, if you have a rubbish Q4, it doesn't go well. Because my Q4 last year was a disaster, right? We had loads of issues. We had loads of shipments. We had 500 pieces of an item that was £100 that got marked as
Oh yeah,
defective
you
by
had a stinker
Amazon.
last year,
We had
didn't
a stinker last year. We had loads of stock get lost on the way to Germany, and then it ended up turning up in the UK instead of going to Germany, and we had a disaster, right? But my overall year was great, and it doesn't have to be the be all and end all of your business. There's still 12 months in the year, and a lot of people's businesses don't make more money in summer. If you're selling paddling pools, your core market's summer, so it doesn't don't feel too downhearted. If your Q4 doesn't go to plan, it isn't the be all and end all. There's 12 months in a year.
Yeah, just don't tie yourself up so much that if it doesn't go your way, that it leaves you with no wriggle room. That's the way to be able to do it.
Oh yeah,
And that
and the Royal Mail
brings,
strikes. Yeah, someone said
yeah,
the Royal Mail strikes. I completely forgot about that. That was a complete nightmare.
that was a
It was just that
disaster.
last year. I've just tried to erase it from my memory. It was that bad.
Mm-hmm. Which brings me on to the next item on our checklist, is definitely this year wide and not deep. So I am seeing lots of evidence that those that are going to have the best type of Q4 this year are going to be that kind of, what is it, a mile wide and inch deep, in terms of variety of stock, more than depth of stock, whereas that has kind of been the motto over the last couple of years. To go through, get stocked up, do this, do that. And yes, if you're creating your own opportunities and you've got the protection of not having idiots on your listing, then absolutely stock up to the hill, over the Q4 period. But if you are not in control of the listing as much as you can be by creating your own opportunities, then I would say, and if you are not or have not adopted creating your own opportunities into your selling strategies, then please do not go too wide unless you know that you are in control of the stock. And what I mean by that, are you buying out the stock? If you're buying out the stock and no one else can get it, go for it. But if there is an endless supply of stock, we used to see this with the £18 big Lego box that you used to get from Tesco's and Morrison's and Asda in
Classic, I think
Q4.
it's called in a classic box or
Yeah,
something.
the classic
Yeah.
yellow set of Lego, and people used to buy 500 of them, but you used to buy 500 and there used to be 500 still on the shelves. So what I mean by that is, if you do not know the end of the stock line, do not go deep. It's as simple as that. I remember with some of those boxes, people are still selling them 6 months later because the stock was so extensive. We're talking millions of units, essentially. So, always know your stock. And if you do not know your stock or your supply, if you cannot guarantee that you know the end of that supply, do not go deep.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Because if you can, you're better off replenishing.
Yes.
You're always better replenishing than you are, going into that.
It's better to lose a few sales than, get stuck with an awful lot of stock that you can't move. And that, because one can send you one's a frustration. I didn't make as much profit as I could. The other is my business is in real trouble now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
very, very big difference. And as well, just a tip on that supply chain thing. If your supplier says this is all the stock we've got, are they the core supplier or are they buying it from another supplier? In supply chains, there's often a lot of people. And if you're not buying direct, you could well be buying, the stock could have passed through 5 hands, 5 distributors before it's got to you. And just because one distributor says this is all I've got, doesn't mean that's all the stock there is in the market. So just make sure you are aware of all the stock in the market.
Yeah. Small and light, yes, I think it ends today, which Cindy confirmed. Thank you for that. If you haven't already, if you are, Sean, I know you're part of the Hive anyway. If you haven't already watched the video that Johnny did about the ending of Small and Light, I mean, that's worth a month's payments in itself, to be perfectly honest. He did a video on how you can leverage or what impact Small and Light has. I don't do any Small and Light, so I'll be honest, I didn't watch it. But from what hearing from other people, so make sure you watch it because the feedback on that video has been really, really good in terms of it's basically how Johnny's going to handle that transition from Small and Light in his business, which produces millions every year, and how he's going to handle it in that. So I think that's really, really important if Small and Light is at any part of your business and worth its weight in gold, obviously if you are a Hive member. So just finally on the last part, and then we'll answer those few questions at the end. So we've talked about inventory, we've talked about financials, we've talked about staying in the know, we've talked about refunduary, just preparing for that a little bit. Again, great session we did in the Hive a few weeks ago about surplus stock, how you can start to think about how you can move those type of excess stock and returns and how you can handle them moving forward. There's going to be more stuff on that coming soon to the Hive, I think, as well, isn't there? In terms of liquidations and that type of thing. So that's going to be a future thing that we're going to look at in the Hive as well. So finally, just one thing, if you haven't watched my video on advertising, paid advertising on the Nevermind the Buy Box YouTube channel, if you are not implementing paid advertising on your current inventory, make sure you watch that video, get it implemented. But the caveat is at the moment, which I'm going to add here, is when it comes to paid advertising in whatever capacity that you use it to maximize your business. So if you're not using it, you're losing out. But something just to keep an extra eye on, which I talk about in the video, but not a huge amount of depth, is over the next couple of months, just be mindful of your budgets because you're going to burn through money quicker on advertising. It's a misconception. Advertising, Amazon do not put the pricing up on advertising. People's like, oh, advertising gets more expensive in Q4. No, it doesn't. It's costed exactly the same. There's just more people that are pressing the adverts. That's why the cost goes up. It's not because Amazon think, oh, I know what I'm going to do here. Unlike which David pointed out earlier. I meant to say that, David. Thanks for pointing that out. They put the prices up on storage, but they do not put the price up on PPC. They put the price up on storage. It increases a third over the last quarter of the year. So keep an eye on that as well, because I'll tell you what, if you're holding stock, that can be a bit of a cash sucker. But PPC, it gets more expensive because there's more demand and there's more people clicking the adverts. Exactly. So have a watch of that video. So keep an eye on your budgets over this time, not only from a spend point of view. With this type of campaign, you shouldn't be overspending anyway, to be perfectly honest, but it might just mean tweaking your budgets a little bit. If your budget is at £5 a day, maybe you want to think about putting it at £10 a day over the Q4 period, so you don't run out, because when everyone else runs out and you haven't, you'll be picking up the extra sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thanks, Cindy. Cindy's put it up as well. Yeah. Cool. We do love a good oh god, I was going to be careful. I was going to say we do love a good spanking on PPC. Thank God I didn't trip over my words when I said that. So lots of Andy said there's lots of IRA stuff at the moment, which was on the Grant and Bowman list, and a third of the price with tons of stock available. So yeah, always be aware of your supply. There's no doubt about it. Just seeing if there's any other. Oh, I like what Andre said. Buying Christmas now and replens in November. Definitely. We'll talk about that as we move through Q4 a little bit. There will come a point in November, and that's exactly the right time to do it, where we're Christmased out at that point. You know,
Yeah.
Christmas is gone. We're focusing on Q1 while we get, well, I don't think I could ever get Christmas out. You know, in business, I get Christmased out. Anything else, I go into full on Christmas mode. And come this time next week, no one can have a go at me about talking about Christmas. It's like I become the most reasonable person in the
Not
room.
November yet, Natalie. It's too early.
No, October's the rule now. 1st of October. That's
Okay.
when you
Well, yeah.
become a little bit of a less of a crazy person for starting to talk about. I'll admit, 1st of November, once Halloween's been, yes, that's when you're at the least part of your crazy. So I'm just hanging on in there. It's like one of those things, you know, when you see like a meme when someone's like bursting, ready to start talking about it. And that's what I'm kind of like at the moment a little bit. So I have to like release the Christmas pressure for sure.
Yeah. 1st of December, I completely agree. Christmas mode starts in December.
Whatever.
Christmas songs are banned in the office till December.
Claire, you're in good company. Definitely. I agree. It's never too early. It's never too early to talk about it for sure. So that's it, guys. I know I was. I don't. There's a brilliant TikTok video, which I sent to Matt. I might post it in the group actually, where it's like it describes my Christmas mind. And it's like when you're like, I haven't got a problem, and it just describes my unreasonable. One day I might stop liking Christmas. Who knows? Maybe when my kids are grown up. But Matt always says to me, he's like, you do realize it will go one of two ways with the kids. They'll either, because I got it from my mum. She was Christmas crazy. I've just leveled up, you know, at that point. So I'm the next level of crazy. So one of my kids might level up again, or it might send them the other way. I think with my son, it will send him the other way because his birthday's November 25th. So he's already warned me this year. He's like, you're not going to put any Christmas decorations up before then, are you? You know, after my birthday is like, and I'm like, no, as I'm like putting the Santa away that I'd got out a couple of hours before. Damn him and his November birthday for sure. Mariah's always in my head, you know, all year round.
Constant, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. They won't celebrate. Yeah, they might convert to Judaism because I've put them off that much. You know, not wanting to celebrate Christmas for sure. My son is the 20 and his youngest is, oh, that sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'd hate to have a Christmas birthday. I'd be a nightmare. It's like when I was born, it was born at the perfect. It's like for a Christmas lover to have a summer birthday, it's like nothing gets in the way. It's just perfect. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'd hate to have a Christmas birthday. That would suck for sure.
Yeah. Mine's a Christmas birthday, so there you go. Well, not quite 28th.
Matt's sister is 25th.
Oh, that's terrible.
That sucks.
I only got you one present.
Yeah. Oh, there we go, Chris.
Day.
Oh, it does. I can't
I
see
don't mind mine. Mine's far enough apart, I think, but it's nice because it's just like a big week. It's like Christmas, birthday, New Year's, mega week.
The thing is, if you've got a Christmas Day birthday, is like generally, and you know, without generalizing, if you're a mom and you know, and you host Christmas and things like that as well, so it's like, oh great, it's my birthday and I don't even get the day off because I've got to cook like a massive meal for everyone and entertain and clear up for everyone. So yeah, it sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I can find no silver lining in it. Sorry. And it's not like you get. I don't believe that you get double presents on the day either. As well, I bet you get shortchanged. You massively
Sure.
get shortchanged if your birthday's Christmas Day as well. So yeah.
Sure.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the other thing as well. Especially if you've got like, I think if you've got I think if you've got a birthday like any time from about the 19th through to definitely New Year, no one wants to come to your birthday.
No, that's what I found. No one wants to bother.
Yeah, exactly. Because, whereas when you've got a July birthday or an August birthday, it's like,
Great
woohoo,
excuse for a
party.
barbecue, isn't it?
Exactly. So yeah. Oh, Chris, don't worry, we'll celebrate you. We'll celebrate you this Christmas this year, I promise. Right. Better go because yeah, like I said, we're just getting into talking about Christmas and birthdays. So
It's too late.
have a great week, guys. Yeah, I think Matt and Johnny, I think will be here next week to kick off Q4 in style. And yeah, we're gonna have a big countdown. Maybe we'll get like a New York style countdown. No,
Oh, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Q4 countdown.
kicking off Q4 in style. Yeah, exactly. Look at that joint presence. It's like, do you know what I would feel that if I did get a Christmas Day, but I'd have to call people out. I'd be like, is this my Christmas present or is this my birthday present? Just want to clarify which one it is.
Yeah.
Right. Have a good week, guys. Like I said, Johnny and Matt will see you next week. If you're part of the Hive, Matt dropped the link in there. Actually, we didn't
Yeah,
really get around to talking
yeah,
about it. We'll do some posts in the group, maybe do a little
yeah.
extra video, something like that. If you're in the Hive, stop by tonight. Definitely, we are a full-on seasonal sourcing and bundle sourcing, and we last week we kicked off our Q4 challenge as well. So updates on that and going through a few extra things. So yeah, see you in a few hours,
Yes, you
guys.
will.
Have a good week and look forward to Q4 starting. Woohoo! See you later, guys.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.